Hey everyone, I'm here to talk about the draft from Monday night. Now, you probably already seen my video where I talked about the supplemental draft, but I want to talk about the main draft which took place on Monday night. Now, some have argued and said that it was a weak draft. It really didn't make no sense because essentially, according to the SEScoops.com, SESportsEntertainmentScoops.com, only 6 actual draft picks occurred on Monday night, which what superstars switching shows. And the reason there's 6 is because the first pick, because the other 2 picks were the same guy, and that same guy was John Cena. Basically what happened is at the beginning of the night, Big Show and Kofi Kingston, when they were still a part of SmackDown, won the Battle Royal, the SmackDown vs. Raw Battle Royal, and the first draft pick was John Cena. Okay, so John Cena gets drafted to SmackDown. Now, a lot of people are thinking this is possibly what they were hoping for, that this is going to benefit, this is going to be good. But not so fast. Fast forward 2 picks later. 2 picks later, the number 3 pick, which went to SmackDown, was Randy Orton. So as soon as you knew Randy Orton was going to SmackDown, something had to go off in your head saying, oh crap. That means Cena's going to probably somehow come back to Raw, either through being a trade or something, right? Well, fast forward later on to the main event, 6-man tag. Team Raw, which is represented by Miz, Alberto Del Rio, and CM Punk, end up winning the match against Team SmackDown, which consists of Mark Henry, Christian, and John Cena. And the victory is due to the fact that Mark Henry has suddenly turned heel again. I'll get into that. And what happens? The final draft pick of the night goes to Raw, and who is it? John Cena. Now, a lot of people don't like this because it was many people, including guys like Damian Nelson and those at the Pro Wrestling Report, have all agreed, and even those that phoned in on them said the first and the last pick of the night were wasted picks. Like, it just didn't make sense. Well, I agree on that. I agree it was wasted picks, but let me explain something. I think I know why they did this. It's not because Randy's now on SmackDown and SmackDown's going to be Randy's show now. But essentially in WWE's creative mind, they're like, people think they know the draft? They think they can predict who's going in the draft? We're going to throw them a curveball and make them think, or show them that they don't know what they're talking about. And that's what they did. In WWE creative's mind, they threw the curveball on Monday night by having John Cena drafted back to Raw. Basically by saying that, hey, you fans, you markouts, you internet, you IWCs and YWC people, you think you know so much, you think you can predict something right off the bat? Guess what? You can't. And that's essentially what was going through their mind, and that's what they did. That's why they did what they did with John Cena. They essentially said, we're going to throw them a curveball and prove to them they don't know jack shit. And that's why they put John Cena back on Raw. And also, essentially, it was to show maybe the newer fans, like the younger fans, that even if you're drafted, even if your favorite superstar is drafted to another show, they're still eligible to be drafted again. Just like in the NFL. Just like in the NFL. You know, a couple years ago, Eli Manning was drafted by San Diego, but he ended up getting sent to New York, right? And he's benefited from that. It's the same thing here. You thought, WWE creative in their own mind had people think, oh well, they think right now John Cena is going to remain on SmackDown, but haha, look, boom, end of the night, he goes back to Raw. So that's probably why they did it. But overall, I thought it was okay. I thought it was an okay draft, and I can understand though why people felt that it wasn't a good draft at all. It wasn't a good draft at all because, well, first of all, it just came out of nowhere, if you will. I mean, originally this draft on Monday night was scheduled for June for a 3-hour edition of Raw. That's what it was scheduled for. Hell, I thought it was going to be 3 hours, but I was wrong. It was only 2. And it's the first time they had done a 2-hour Raw draft special since about 2004. That was the last time they had done it. So anyway, so anyway, the reason many felt this was not a good draft because, like I said, it came too soon. A lot of people thought it was going to be in June. It was going to be 3 hours, give more time to more picks and surprises. Did not happen that way. Instead, you end up only having a 2-hour Raw, which, of course, two matches in a row during the night, in the middle of the night, in the middle of the show, had 2 draft picks on the line. So basically, you had 4 draft picks on the line in 2 matches in a row. 2 on one 2 that were won by SmackDown, 2 that were won by Raw. So, yeah, that's to me overall. I thought it was okay. And again, the ones that were drafted on the main portion, and the ones that were drafted on the main portion on the main draft, which occurred on Monday night. Raw, the main people that got drafted on Monday to Raw were Rey Mysterio, Big Show, and Alberto, and the people that were drafted on the main SmackDown draft on Monday night were Randy Orton, Mark Henry, and Sin Cara. Now, again, originally John Cena, I guess you could say, was part of SmackDown for a cup of tea, if you will, or a cup of soda. And I know some people don't like it. Like the fact that the WWE did that. Well, you know what? You're going to have to expect it next year, because they're going to probably try to pull the same crap again. You know, I don't mind it either way, because I knew for some reason they weren't going to do that. I knew for some reason. Even when I read the spoilers, I was surprised that John Cena got drafted back. But the thing is, I knew eventually they weren't going to keep him on SmackDown, because even though he started on SmackDown, if you're going to have him facing The Rock at WrestleMania, you got to have it focused on your main show, and that's about it. So, anyway, overall, it was okay. It was an okay deal. Really can't say much about that. But I will say this. I have a top 5, if you will, who I believe is going to benefit, if you will, as the top heels and the top baby faces this year for both brands. Let's take a look at the Raw side of things and the top heels on the Raw side. The top heels are going to go like this. With both drafts combined together, the top heels for Raw will be Jack Swagger, Drew McIntyre. Okay? Jack Swagger, Drew McIntyre. Who else? I know they got R-Truth is your third one. Tyler Rex, I believe, is going to be a dark horse, and is going to be a dark horse as a heel, so he'll be one of your top ones. And of course, I think the other top heel right now is going to be The Miz. So right now your top 5 heels, I believe, are going to benefit Raw and really be in that main event picture are Drew McIntyre, Jack Swagger, R-Truth, The Miz, and the dark horse Tyler Rex. Those are the top 5 heels I believe are going to carry Raw as the top 5 heels. The top 5 heels right there are going to. Those are the top 5 heels in my books that are going to carry Raw. Now the top 5 baby faces that are going to help carry Raw. Of course, number 1 is John Cena. John Cena is going to be a top baby face for the year. And number 2 will be Kofi Kingston. Number 3 is going to be Chris Masters. He's going to be a dark horse as a baby face. Look out for that. Who else? Rey Mysterio is going to be a top babyface, number 4. And I believe, I know he's down here somewhere. I think, well, obviously, I can't really think of much right now. But like I said, John Cena, Kofi Kingston, Chris Masters, Rey Mysterio, and possibly Big Show are going to benefit as your top 5 babyfaces representing Raw against the top 5 heels on Raw, which will be, like I say, Drew McIntyre, Jack Swagger, R-Truth, The Miz as of right now, and the Dark Horse himself, Alex Riley. I truly, truly believe that. So, keep an eye on that. Keep an eye on that. Now, for SmackDown, who's going to carry them? Well, your top 5 there are going to be really, really simple, my friends. Your top 5 there, really simple. Heel-wise, your top 5 heels of the year will be the recently turned heel Mark Henry. The other one I believe is going to be Sheamus, of course. Alex Riley. I believe Ted DiBiase and Cody Rhodes are going to be your top heels that are going to carry SmackDown on the heel side. Cody, that's who it's going to be. It's going to be Mark Henry, it's going to be Sheamus, it's going to be Ted DiBiase, it's going to be Cody Rhodes, and of course, like I said, I know I just saw him, it's going to be Sheamus. So, Sheamus, Mark Henry, Cody Rhodes, Ted DiBiase, and, man, I always forget one more person. Alex Riley, yeah, Alex Riley. Alex Riley, Sheamus, Mark Henry, Ted DiBiase, and Cody Rhodes, your top heels. They're going to carry SmackDown on the heel side, the bad guy side of things, if you will. On the babyface side, for SmackDown, the top 5 baby faces are going to carry them. Randy Orton, Sin Cara, of course. Sin Cara, Randy Orton, Sin Cara, Daniel Bryan, I believe. Who else? Where was left on SmackDown? Yoshitatsu, keep an eye on him. He'll be a dark horse. And I believe Justin Gabriel. Those are going to be Justin Gabriel and Yoshitatsu, your 2 dark horses to represent SmackDown as the top 5 baby faces. Okay? Randy Orton, Sin Cara, Justin Gabriel is a dark horse. Daniel Bryan, and Yoshitatsu. I might throw Kane. Okay, we'll put it this way. Yoshitatsu and Kane will be your top 5.5 baby faces right there, representing SmackDown against the top 5 heels. And that's who I think is going to benefit out of the draft this year, overall. And those are my thoughts on Monday's main portion of the draft. Again, you can see my supplemental draft review video below this. And tell me what you guys think overall, and I will talk to you all later.